What's going on, guys? It's Brendan from Modern to Me, and today we're going to be learning about another kind of loop. We have already learned about the for loop, where you can iterate over arrays or perform a task a certain number of times. And today we're going to be learning something called a while loop, like while, like W-H-I-L-E, that kind of while. A while loop is actually fairly similar to a for loop, wherein it performs a task a certain number of times. That's why it's called a loop. But instead of there being a variable like we have been working with int I and working until I is as long as I is less than a certain number, or as long as it fulfills that condition. That's how the for loop continues execution. The while loop continues execution based solely on its condition. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's just make a program. I've cleared everything out. I still have this scanner being imported, so let's make a scanner, and I'll just call it input, and set it equal to a new scanner and system.in. There we go. That's not system. Okay. And since I'm so bad at it, let's just remember now to type input.close so we don't forget at the end of our program. Okay. Oops. Oh my gosh, I always mess this up. Okay. So first, let me show you the syntax for a while loop. So you type the word while, and in these parentheses, you type the condition that you want to test to see if the while loop can continue execution. So as long as whatever is in this parenthesis is true, the while loop will continue execution. So if you were to just type the keyword true, like I covered in that other tutorial, this would continue execution forever. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of handy. But at the same time, you don't really want it to execute forever, because then the program would never stop running. So we can't do that. So let's actually have a real condition here. So let's make an integer. Name it positive, because we want this number to be positive, but we'll set it to 0 at first. And we'll have our condition be while positive is less than or equal to 0. So essentially what this condition is saying is that while positive is a negative number, we are going to continue running this block of code over and over until positive is actually a positive number. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to prompt the user to enter a positive number. Enter a positive number. Okay. And we are going to set positive equal to input.next int. There. And so what this is going to do is, while positive is not positive, it's going to tell the user to enter a positive number. And it's going to set positive equal to their input. Oops, didn't mean to move that. But if positive is still a negative number, it's going to run this code again. And it's going to run this code again and again and again until the user finally decides that they're not going to be stupid anymore, and they're going to actually enter a positive number. So after this while loop, let's just print out println. We're just going to print something like thank you, just so we know that our program has left this while loop. Okay, let's try this out. Enter a positive number. -5. That's positive, right? What? No? What about -40? No? What about 0? No? How about 5? Thank you. There we go. I finally figured it out. I finally remembered what a positive number was, and we were able to complete our program. So you can probably already tell that this while loop is pretty handy. So what while loops are usually used for in games are game loops, because the way games work are they have certain graphics functions, logic functions, like physics functions, whatever you want to call them. They have a certain methods to accomplish these tasks, and they just run over and over and over. So usually you'll have some sort of while condition, like while game is running, execute all of these methods, all of those logic methods, those graphics methods, so that your program can run each frame over and over and over to create a cohesive game. So that's pretty cool. So let's take this code out. I'll clear all of this out, but let's keep this positive. We'll keep this same kind of concept going with the positive number. But instead, let's actually try this while true. While true. So right now, this code is going to execute forever. There is absolutely no way that this condition will ever be false, because we literally just typed that this condition is true and will always be true. So there's actually a way to break out of a loop. And to do this, you just type the keyword break. And that's it. And that's going to break out of your loop. So that's pretty cool. That's something useful. So let's try this out. We can type, we're going to prompt the user again, system.out.print. We're going to say enter a positive number. And they are going to enter said positive number, hopefully. Set that to input.nextInt. And now what we're going to do is we have to test this input to see if it's going to be positive. So if positive is greater than 0, we're going to break. And what this is going to do is this break keyword always breaks out of the closest loop in the scope. So in this case, we only have one loop. It's while loop. But you can actually embed loops within each other. So we could have a for loop within a for loop, but it would break out of that innermost loop. So this is going to break out of our while loop. Okay, and if positive is less than 0 or 0, it's not going to break and it's going to continue running. So let's just try this out. I'll type this thank you again real quick so we know that we're on the right track. That's good enough. Yeah, I think that's cool. And okay, enter a positive number, -8, not -7, -24, and 78. Thank you. Oh, okay. So even though that's not saying thank you, it's still showing that we have created another successful program. So that's just another method right here, this break keyword. And this isn't really a practical use, because the way I showed you the first time with just putting this condition right within this while loop parentheses right here, that's obviously the best method to put it in here because it's already there for you. You might as well use it. But there are other cases where you might come across that this break keyword is something that you really need to utilize, especially with for loops. You can put the break keyword in any sort of loop. We're going to learn one more loop in next tutorial. But in the 3 kinds of loops, you can use this break keyword and a couple other controls flow statements actually, but mainly loops. It's really useful. So just keep that in mind that this option is available. So I'll see you guys in the next tutorial where we learn about a different kind of while loop. I'll see you guys there.